Good evening.
Hi, good Chodesh.
Yeah, it's right. Good Kodesh. Okay. It's been a long time. September 16th, last time we learned. Wow.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Now we are at the Lange Winternacht, as the Bali Musa used to say.
Let's put it on screen. Okay. From the depths of uh the hidden place of the neshama. Nikachas ha'or. Let us take the light. Asher yechayes am kulo, which will infuse life into the entire nation. Lamido raglov. To stand it on its legs. Koach ha'chaim alechu mizgaber. The power of life continues and becomes stronger. Who parates los sub. It bursts open its pathways. Interesting language. Um, I'm not sure what it bursts through. I don't know why he chose the verb parates, but okay, we'll figure it out. It sounds like it's a spring which emanates, or for that matter, a volcano, which emanates and finds its pathways to the surface. We have to analyze the plan of its spirit. Ruach HaKodesh Elyon, the aspiration for a higher form of Ruach HaKodesh. Um, so this is assumed to be intrinsic by Rav Kook to the Orot HaTechiyah Kulo, is a Shifa to Ruach HaKodesh. But what is this Ruach HaKodesh? Ruach HaKodesh hamizdamel Ruach Giborim. It's a Ruach HaKodesh which is analogous or similar to the spirit of the mighty, the heroes, Ezore Korach Elokim, who were girded with the power of God, which we had in yesteryear. Be'ez, at the time, Asher Hikira, Humas Atzma Begalui, when the nation recognized itself in a revealed way. He miskaberes volechas. That specific Ruach HaKodesh is becoming more amplified and continuing to expand. Derech Chazer Masa, and the year when it flows, its manner, or the pathway of it flows, he pochetzes gedorim. It breaks open fences. He mochekas roshel tmimus v'gilah. Okay, that's very powerful language. It erases the forms of normal uh, innocence, normal perhaps um, simplicity. Umaberes aidei ze osros chayim nizgavim. And it would seem negative. It seems that it destroys the lofty treasuries of life. So this new spirit, this Ruach HaKodesh, should be mizdame to the Giborim of yesteryear. It seems to leave us in an awful situation. Kereach mikan mikan, bald on both sides. So he says, and this, of course, is directly relating to the spirit of chalutziut, of pioneering endeavor, which seems to want to hark back to a different form of life in Israel. But the flaw of the danger is that it destroys everything which we've accumulated over the past millennia, which is positive, right? So how do we feel good about this spirit, which, as holy as we might claim it to be, it's also destructive. It's porates. It's only a transition. We immediately have to towards the lofty sunrise shel orach chaim of a life of a light of life. Hanoveh mikor nisami marom mi rishon, which comes from a source which is uplifted even greater than it was at first. Shadbia b'kolchot tzura isono, which will coin with its power a firm form. B'mula b'gvuras hakodesh, which is filled with the mightiness of holiness. Yes, more than any mediocre simplicity or innocence. Which is not sufficiently illuminated from the holy and pure light. More than any of that can give comes this koyach of this Ruach HaKodesh. Idealim shebemakor Yisrael, the ideals in the Jewish source, Holchim u'Mizgalim, are revealed. Rav Kook could never have imagined the Knesset or any other such forum in which Jews perennially misbehave and are uncivil and mercilessly attack each other. I don't think those are idealim shemakor Yisrael Holchim u'Mizgalim. And this is true about all segments and factions. They prepare the spirit which is prepared. They prepare the spirit which is prepared. They give life to the spirit which is prepared to receive them, with the thunder of their power. They demand their mission, their purpose. That I guess in order to fulfill that purpose, they demand that it should be kelim, tools, kelim rabim, many tools. Neshamos brios shel dor ra'anan, the healthy souls of a fresh generation. Yosheva admoso, sitting on its land, ve'zor azur bigvuras yesha yimino, and girded with the strength of the salvation of its right hand. It's a very fine line between Rav Kook and arrogance. I don't. It's not. It's not so simple to define that. I mean, especially the Israeli arrogance, which automatically looks down on anybody in Chutz La'aretz. I think you find a very strong echo of that in Rav Kook, and you have this today in many Israeli circles where they look a priori disdain down at somebody who's not Yoshev al Admaso Ve'zor Bigvuras Yesha Yemino. And it's called that taka has capacity to steamroll and be older otzros, older um, uh, precious values which existed in Am Yisrael through the years. Okay, but Rav Kook sees this as a corrective, a necessary corrective. You know how long it's supposed to last. Hamikdash, the base of Mikdash, a prophecy about Malchus and governance. All the strategies. Shochim Elenu as kavam. They send us their line. As a ram azur their light which is planted in the land of the living. Karnayim yadam lanu, rays from their hands come to us. Galei eroseha orosei makim afafenu. The waves of their lights beat on our eyelids. Haskuros v'chol meshes managolus, which are close out the time of Golus Hamemas Meses, Misameses, which is blinds, like the Lashon of Suma, Esakol. We're being called to prepare ourselves this great light. Know what we are, what our mission is. Manish Masena, what our souls, Bechel, a son, new saw, in all of its strength. Manish should say, what our soul and all its strength, the rest of Meitan requires of us. Ruach HaKodesh, the great and lofty spirit, Hashoeb the Gedolei goes, which strives for the greatest of the great accomplishments, I guess. Who, it, only it, Machzik as a chaim as enoshiyus, sustains life and humanity, behodah uv'gurasah, with its splendor and its might. Matimayim gras hachaim amleim. It is appropriate for a gvura which envelops all of life, a whole life, a holistic life. Shemalin gvios meleos dam bari v'chel atzum, which will fill bodies which are themselves full of healthy blood and great power. Meretz kabir, great initiative is not quite the right word. A great energy. but Salas Chaim and a shout of life, Adira, a mighty shout of life. Irak Vruas Ruach, a son El Yonusa. This is the power, the might of the spirit, and it's the strength of its loftiness. Hazarachas vola elanoshius. The Rav Kook, his humanity comes through in the end. It shines and is elevated on humanity. B'koach ha'oz shel Yisrael, with the power of the strength of the Jews. Halechu mislabeit, which goes and becomes more and more emphasized. But chayenu, in our lives, bispart so some, and when they burst out atoa bezerem, in the flow shanatil yiskomer musa of the nation of the rise of the nation al musa historis on its historic land. Be'ein matara ligrus chaim telech holoch v'namog. If there was no purpose for this power of life, a strength of life, then it would go and wane. It would melt. Its strength would be diminished. He, what do you have here?
Tasnun?
Tisnon, I guess.
Tisno. Yeah, Tisno.
Tinua. It will move. It would move V'titzad and march El Havalad to its emptiness. Which is prepared for it on the the downhill pathway. And the lofty, the which is adorned in general, or baklal in this general society, in the totality of society, in the congregation of the nation. It will appear in its proper um, intent, its proper goal, and in our lives, in our lives of content, for which we live and we exist, we fight and we are victorious. Okay, so now in the next piece is going to speak about, in contradistinction, the Yahadut Bagola. In other words, all that is only possible in Israel, not in Chutz La'aretz.
It seems strange to me that someone who was in Volozhin would sort of. He never mentions anything about that European life or anything. He hasn't said a word about it. He's talked in, conceptualizing the new situation and to adopt and to strive for a new type of unity and a new type of spirituality and an elevation of our ideals. But he has never said anything about the past.
Right, and I don't think in Ches is going to get any better. So I think that this actually, yes, it is very surprising how Rav Kook would take, because he was in touch with all these people who, he knew from Volozhin, such as Reb Chaim Moiser, or I don't know, from Volozhin, but the people he knew from Europe, from Chaim Moiser, to Reb Shemesh Kopp, to Reb Baruch Ben Leibowitz, to, for that matter, Reb Benkis, the head of the Charedis, he was in touch with all these people.
Yeah.
And they were part of his world. Mr. Zalman Meltzer was his good buddy. So, so it is a Pella. I don't know. There's this disconnect here, which I maybe Orot is written specifically for a specific target audience, and therefore he's willing to go out on a limb and say things which I hesitate to say this, but that he didn't necessarily completely mean but rather gave into to the spur of inspiration of the moment.
Yeah, well, there was certainly I don't know, a feeling among the Jews who made it to Eretz Yisrael that we have something special and we can mold it as we see fit, and we're not shackled, so to speak, by the past. I mean, there's always this idea, oh, someone who becomes from, even a Baal Tshuva, they say, oh, you want to go back to the 1800s. So there was definitely an idea that they were sort of leaving behind what was to have this new sort of more militant or more aggressive type of Jew, even if he wasn't that religious, but he was a Jew and he was aggressively a Jew. So
Right.
it's very strange that the ties to the whole Masorah and the past seems to have been, left out of this book.
Right. Okay. We will search for it and find what we can find. All right. Have a great week.
Yes,
Shkoyach.
you too. Thank you
Okay.
very
Bye bye.
much. Take care.